Good day to all. Let us start the first topics from advanced topics in project management, that is introduction to project management. So project management, we can tell, it's a process of leading the work of a team to achieve all project goals within the given constraints. The objective of project management is to produce a complete project which compiles with the client's objectives. In many cases, the objective of project management is also to shape or reform the client's brief to feasibly address the client's objectives. So as we know that the project is not new, it has been used for more than 100 of years, like examples like pyramids of Giza, the Great Wall of China, Taj Mahal, the books written for children, etc. A project, we can tell that it's a temporary and unique endeavor designed to produce a product, service, or result with a defined beginning and end, which usually time constraints, often constraints by funding or staffing, undertaken to meet unique goals and objectives, typically to bring about beneficial change or added value. So the outcome of these projects were the results of the leaders or project managers, those who are applying the project management practices, principles, process, tools, and techniques to their work. So in addition to the practices, principles, process, tools, and techniques, they also use a set of key skills and applied knowledge to satisfy their customers and other people involved in or affected by the project. So the general management skills theory, if you are considering about any projects, only the terminology will vary, but the project management process or the project management steps are consistent. The project manager generally use more than one tool to complete the project in a successful way that should be within time, within budget, and on time or on schedule. The project managers with the knowledge and skills, they usually leads a team towards a common goal, nothing but success of the project. And they will optimize the project team members' talents to best benefits of the team or best benefits of the project. So the project management body of knowledge. Let us mention or let us tell about the history or origin of PMBOK. Where did PMBOK came from? The origin of PMBOK back in 1969, when the PMI, that is Project Management Institute, was founded with the aim to provide a forum or a reference for professionals to share information and discuss problems encountered in the project management field. In 1984, that is almost in the mid of 20th century, the organization issued its first certification, that is the project management professional. The project management body of knowledge is a set of standard terminology and guidelines, that is a body of knowledge for project management, and it was introduced by Project Management Institute in the mid of 20th century. The project management body of knowledge, or PMBOK, evolves over time and is presented in a Guide to Project Management Body of Knowledge, a book whose 7th edition is released in 2021. So it contains almost 750 pages and helps the project manager what they need to know in project management, which contains the foundations and standards, as well as the guidelines for making the project success. So the project management body of knowledge, or when we are considering about the qualities of a project manager, they should obtain a general idea of project management body of knowledge, which is a set of standard terminology and guidelines for project management. Most of the project management or PMBOK guide is unique to project management, such as critical path method, work breakdown structure. This book also, or this guide also overlaps with the general management regarding planning, organizing, staffing, executing, and controlling the operations of the organization. Other management disciplines which overlaps with the PMBOK, like financial forecasting, organizational behavior, management science, budgeting, and other planning methods. So let us go through the characteristics or qualities of a project manager. He should have a general knowledge of project management body of knowledge. He should have the knowledge about the application area knowledge, standards and regulations. He should understand the project environment. He must obtain the general management knowledge and skills, and finally, the interpersonal skills. So when we are considering about the application area knowledge, like functional departments and supporting disciplines, technical elements, management specializations, industries, groups, etc. Understanding the project environment means virtually all projects are planned and implemented in a social, economic, and environmental context. Cultural and social environment, international and political environment, physical environment, etc. General management knowledge, the supporting disciplines such as financial management and accounting, purchasing and procurement, sales and marketing, contract and commercial law, manufacturing and distribution, logistic and supply chain, strategic planning, tactical planning and operational planning, organizational structure, organizational behavior, personal administration, compensation, benefits and career paths, healthy and safety practices, information technology, etc. When it comes to interpersonal skills, the effective communication, influencing the organization, leadership, motivation, negotiation and conflict management, problem solving, etc. So these are all the general qualities that a project manager must possess. There are 10 knowledge areas, starting with integration, project integration management, which is the process and activities needed to identify and define, combine, unify, and coordinate the various process and project management activities within the project management groups. The scope management, the process required to ensure that the project include all the work required, only the work required to complete the project successfully. Time management or schedule management, the process required to manage the timely completion of the project. Cost management, the process involved in planning, estimating, budgeting, financing, funding, managing, and controlling cost so that the project can be completed within the approved budget. Quality management, the activities of the performing organization that determines quality policies, objectives, and responsibilities so that the project will satisfy the needs for which it was undertaken. Then comes human resource management. So the processes that organize, manage, and lead the project team. Then comes communication management, the process that are required to ensure timely and appropriate planning, collection, creation, distribution, storage, retrieval, management, control, monitoring, and the ultimate disposition of project information. Risk management, the process of conducting risk management planning, identification, analysis, response planning, and controlling risk on the project. Procurement management, necessary to purchase or acquire products, services, or results needed from outside the project team. And finally, the stakeholder management, the processes required to identify all the people impacted by the project, that is directly or indirectly, analyzing the stakeholders' expectations and impact on the project, developing appropriate management strategies for effectively engaging stakeholders in project decision and execution. Then comes the general management area. So like financial management and accounting, purchasing and procurement, sales and marketing, strategic management, economics, value and ethics, business laws, leadership, contract and commercial laws, manufacturing and distribution, logistic and supply chain, etc., including information technology. The project management knowledge areas coincide with the process groups like initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, and finally closing. The knowledge areas take place during any of these process groups. Initiation means the process performed to define a new project or new phase of an existing project by obtaining authorization to start the project or phase. In the planning phase, the process required to establish the scope of the project, refine the objectives, and define the course of action required to attain the objectives that the project was undertaken to achieve. Executing those processes performed to complete the work defined in the project management plan to satisfy the project specifications. Then comes monitoring and control. The process required to track, review, and regulate the progress and performance of the project, identify any areas in which changes to the plan are required, and indicate the corresponding changes. Finally, the closing phase, the process is performed to finalize all activities across all process groups to formally close the project or close the phase. The project life cycle or the project life cycle management is a method based on years of development focused on organizing and planning the projects through fundamental or foundational principles and defined phases. This process covers the inception of the project to its planning and execution. There are many benefits to the cycle. The project planning life cycle has generally 5 phases. They are project initiation, project planning, project execution, project monitoring and control, and project closure. So most projects need to be broken down into logical sequence of phases known as the project cycle. The phases collectively known as the project life cycle. Each end or each project phase is marked by the completion of one or more deliverables. Some may also include the generally when we are considering particularly in the books and all, you can find there are 4 phases starting from initiation, planning, execution, and closing. So monitoring and evaluation or monitoring and controlling is the 5th phase, or that should comes generally in between the execution and closing activities. By following each step, a project team increase the chance of achieving their goals or project success. Then comes stage gate, which is also known as phase exit or phase gate. It's a widely used project management methodology designed to guide a project from its inception to completion. If you are familiar with the waterfall methodology, which is generally used in computer science or software engineering, the stage gate is almost similar to that. It's also a linear process where one stage flows into the next. Allocation of time and money. Time and money are not only interchanged, but also very important in what is termed as the planning stage of the project management. Time and budget constraints have a positive impact on project management because the restrictions of both increase productivity and thus gets a highest success rate. See here, allocation of time and management for a typical project and a successful project. In a typical project, 10% allocation for initiation, 25% for planning, 60% for implementation, and 5% for closing. Whereas that for a successful project, you can just compare between a typical project and a successful project. For a successful project, 20% from 10% in a typical project to 20% for a successful project, the time and money is used for initiation, 30% for planning, 40% for implementation, and 10% for closing. So every project, regardless of its subject matter, starts with an idea and ends with a functioning reality of the ideal intent. The project that fails are sometimes considered losses, but most often they also offer excellent lessons on how to avoid repeating the failures in the future. The Sydney Opera House is a notable example for that. You see, I have a question for you, whether it is a good or bad project. So by looking at the structure or the output or the outcome of the given project, we can tell that it is an excellent project. But you can't tell from looking at it. But Sydney, Australia's iconic opera house is actually a study of project failure. The original plan had a 4-year timeline and 7 million Australian dollar budget. But at the end, it took 14 years to complete, and the expense was around 102 million Australian dollars. Fortunately, the final product is more than the expectations of opera goers, the world's architectural community. And ultimately, the Australian government, which recouped the massive cost after only 2 years. How the project rolled out over time offers a series of object lessons on how not to manage a construction or any kind of projects. So this happens because not because of a poor project, but because of the poor or bad project management. So project life cycle as a tool. Once the project manager is assigned, they should begin developing the project lifecycle document. The project lifecycle defines the project timeline, phases, participants, and deliverables. It should be customized for each project and can be revised if needed as a project progresses. So we can tell the PLC is a step-by-step framework for best practices used to shepherd the project from its beginning to its end. It provides project managers a structured way to create, execute, and finish the product. Different project managers choose different project life cycles depending on the nature of the task, like engineering, software development, etc. The project life cycle is the order of process and phases used to delivering delivering projects. It describes a high-level process of delivering a project and the steps you take to make things happen. It's how project happens, how the phases of the project conduct a team from belief through its delivery. So we can tell PLC is used to maintain an overview of the project, to help identify tasks, break the projects into manageable parts, integrate the activities, to help with the timing of decisions, whether to go with the project or not to go with the projects, and to guide a level of contingency needed, etc. The common characteristics. See, here we are mentioning about between the different stages. The cost and staff level is very low at the early phases of the project. The probability of failure, risk, uncertainty are highest at the starting stages. The stakeholders' influence for the outcome of the project will be highest at the beginning, and it will lowers through the different phases of the project. Even though there are similar phase names for many projects, similar work requirements, but the few of the projects are identical. So in other words, we can tell every project needs to be unique by its nature. The sub-projects within the project also have a distinct project life cycle. Project stakeholders, they are the individuals and organizations who are actively involved in the project and whose interest may be positively or negatively affected as a result of project execution or successful project completion. So some of the examples of project stakeholders like project leaders, senior management, project team members, project customers, resource managers, line managers, product user groups, project testers, any group impacted by the project as its progress, any group impacted by the project when it is completed, some contract of the projects, consultant of the projects, etc. And then comes the final slides which explain, okay, the dilemma in the project management. See, always it is very difficult to manage the expectations of the stakeholders because they are of various groups, they are having various attitudes, various thoughts, various skills, and various requirements. See, this is the total story of a project management. See, in the first picture, it has been showing that what the client explained. So here it is showing what exactly the client explained. And the last slide, last image, that is showing what the client is actually needed. So that is a difference you can tell. So here it is mentioned that your understanding of the project needs to match between the stakeholders' understanding. That is, this is the one that the stakeholder, or this is the one the client explained. This is the one that the client actually required, and this is the one that the client explained. And this is the one that project manager understood, the analyst designed, the programmer coded, the consultant or the business consultant, he explained about the project in this way. This is the project got documented, what actually installed, the bills, and how it was being maintained. So among these pictures, it is clear that when you are explaining, that is when as the client explaining about the requirements for the project, it is necessary for the project group or the project analyst to understand the exact requirements of the project or exact requirements of the clients. Otherwise, even though we maintained the project within time, or we executed the project within time or within the budget, on time and within the budget, finally dissatisfaction may occur for the client. That means the project will become a disaster, the project will become a failure. Okay. Okay, that's all from this section. Thank you.